I think the way a lot of these people that have an agenda operate, where they go, we need to present this Ukraine war as a way that we are fighting a murderous dictator who's going to take over all of Europe. And even though wasn't evidence of that.
no evidence.
There was really not a ton of evidence.
No.
Right? There was almost none. You have to believe that. Now, I live in Beverly Hills, California. I live outside of the city limits, but I say I do. And the worst people in the world, in Beverly Hills, right? I mean, monster people. Like, they make valets cry, get my effing car. You know what I mean? Like, people jump out of windows and they walk over their bodies to get in their Porsche. It's crazy. And that happened in the building I lived in. But so
someone jumped out the window?
Yeah, this Hollywood producer, Steve Bing, he killed himself.
I knew Steve.
And he jumped out of the window. And
you think Steve killed himself?
I don't know. But I did.
Steve was a great guy.
It's sad. I have no idea what happened. But
Steve was the biggest donor to the Democratic Party under Clinton.
Yeah, that's a deadly move, huh?
Well,
it's a little deadly.
And then Steve began, I know because he told me, began changing his views on things.
Oh.
And then the next thing you know, Steve Bing has committed suicide. And I don't know, but a friend of mine who's very close to Steve Bing, and I was friends with Steve Bing, said, that's not what happened.
That's very
That's
possible.
your building. I know where that is.
So I used to live there, and I moved out of there because it has a dark energy. Can you imagine?
Did you really move because it had a dark energy?
Yeah. I couldn't really sleep, and friends would come over, and we'd sit in the living room of one of these apartments, and they'd go, what's this? And we're not those people. We're not like crystals people. We're not,
you sound spiritually sensitive.
Yeah, I guess I'm sensitive enough to realize it was just something. And then there was like a lot of like junkies, but beating each other up and beating up their girlfriends and stuff. And the cops would have to come all the time. Not a great building. I won't say which one it is. I don't want to be sued, but because I did trash them on the podcast and they were upset. But it was not a great building, but the same people who would walk over, and, I talked to the valets, the morning after that happened, there were people going, oh, that's terrible. Anyway, it's the blue Porsche. Let's go. So this is the type of person that we're dealing with in Beverly Hills. And you need people that are kind of like that to a degree. I mean, you do need people that are not, singing Kumbaya all the time. But let's just say these are not incredibly sensitive souls.
Yes.
That are living in Beverly Hills, right? I remember everyone had a Ukrainian flag immediately after the war started, like they had been shipped.
Well, because they care.
Yeah.
Unlike you, they care.
Yeah.
They care about democracy.
Right. So all these people who kick their maid down the stairs.
I'm laughing because I grew up around people like that in Southern California, so I know you're right.
These people that scream and yell at people in restaurants when something's not macrobiotic or vegan. They apparently became all humanitarians in the span of one night. And then the Ukraine flags were all over the place. And if you asked any question about the Ukraine or what was going on or why Russia went in or why they would be in NATO.
Because they hate our freedoms.
Yeah, right. So it was the same kind of argument. It's the same very strange Manichaean
right,
good and evil argument.
Totally right.
And you would just say... I had dinner with RFK and his wife, who I adore, and his son was there, and his son served in Ukraine.
Yes.
His kid Connor, he's a brave kid. God bless him, I mean, hey, God, everyone does something, right?
Yeah, of course.
And he was talking about it, and he said, and everyone at the table was, saying, how hard it is to we were sitting in Malibu at dinner. They go, how hard that's serving the Ukraine. I go, yeah, but I'm defending Vladimir Putin in Malibu at a dinner party. That's actually tougher. To be honest,
very tough.
It's actually
you're
worse.
The one who needs the medal.
I actually need the medal, and I should but it's so to me. I just thought this is very funny. What shuts down comedy is fundamentalism,
of course. And
so when people say to you, you can't ask questions, you can't know things. It's, that's why every dictator in the world hates comedians. They don't want anybody asking any questions about anything, and they shut everything down. And that's why people get offended very easily, usually have something to hide. The coolest people in the world are the people who will poke fun at on the show, and they don't care, and they think it's fun, and they go, this guy's a buffoon, and who cares,
Or maybe there's some truth in it that I should learn from.
Or whatever, or that perhaps. But when you make fun of people and they lose their mind, it always suggests something, right? So every time that I would ask about the Ukraine, I go, why exactly We've never heard of the Ukraine. And every Vice documentary about the Ukraine was that they were a white supremacist neo-Nazi country.
Yeah.
Every Vice documentary was like a bunch of people in the Ukraine walking around with SS tattoos and shields. And I go, and these people just overnight became like great allies and like brave people that we loved. So it was like, okay, listen, I feel bad their country got invaded and they're doing what they have to do and whatever, but I just don't know. It's just very interesting to hear people that have never thought, I mean, these people that I live around have never had a thought about another human being in their life. They've never had a thought. And in fact, they wouldn't even be effective at what they do if they did. These agents and managers, they can't see you as a human being. They have to see you as a product. And that's what makes them good at what they do.
Of course.
They have to see you as a product.
You can't work in a slaughterhouse if you love cows.
That's correct.
Yes.
You can't pet the cow and go,
no.
Are you tired? Do you need some time off? How's your wife? You have to look at the cow and go, it's $100,000, get on the plane. And if you don't like it, do drugs. So what happens is
they're the worst people I've ever known.
They're the worst.
The agents.
The agents are and they're always like the black sheep of a very wealthy family who everyone else is successful. So it's always like you have a guy, when you have an agent, they go, my brother works at Goldman Sachs, my sister is a neurosurgeon, and I do this because I have no talent or skills except I was born rich and I'm a sociopath and I don't have any educational background, but I was never going to work at Popeyes making chicken sandwiches. So I sit here at a desk, and that's who most of them are.
Can I just ask you something? Yeah. It's funny, in the last couple of years, I've, obviously I know a lot of people who have been canceled.
Sure.
Had these fake scandals.
Yes.
Wherever they come from. And then every one of them has been dropped by his agent. And in a couple of cases, that agent has been Jay Suarez, I think. But other agents too. And a buddy of mine said to me, well, I can't believe this happened. Like I was really close to my agent. Like I know his kids.
Yeah.
I went to his house all the time.
Right.
And the second the person had any problem at all, the agent issues a statement like distancing himself from his own client.
Yes.
Adding to the dog pile.
Well, this is what happens. This is kind of what they have to do.
But shouldn't that be a death penalty offense?
Well,
for the agent? Like who would hire an agent who did that?
Everyone.
Why?
Because what happens is everybody in that town is full of shit.
Okay.
Everybody, and everybody kind of goes on that. Like everybody, like it's the type of town where if someone calls you up and goes, so-and-so died, you go, yeah, okay. No one believes anything. You go, sure they did. Like it's a complete, it's a fun house. It's a hall of mirrors. It's a place. So the agent that drops you, in many cases, will call you and go, hey, I'm really sorry. The higher ups will drop me if I don't drop you. Everyone's on the chopping block there, from the CEO of Paramount to the person who's making salads for their boss at CAA or UTA or WME. Everyone's on the chopping block. There's nobody there that really, everybody just goes with the wind. So if somebody doesn't like a comedian, if like the consensus is that comedian's bad, everyone's like, they're bad, they're a demon from hell. And then if it swings the other way and that comedian starts doing really well, they're like, they've had a great year. There's nothing behind their eyes. There's nothing there. And that's just the accepted reality of the town. So that's why. And
so it's like no hard feelings.
You're right. You're having a human reaction.
Yeah, loyalty is so important.
To a video game. You see? That's what's happening. You're having a human reaction to a video game, which is what it is. It's just everybody's plugged into this matrix. Nothing's real. What people do is real, like the comedy and the movies and the art and the whatever and the books and all the things that people create. But how people in the business handle them and respond to them is dictated 100% by the winds that blow in. So if the woke wind blows in, they go, we're doing woke. Get every fat woman, get every minority. They're on television. I want women so fat they can't breathe on their own. I want them in wheelchairs. I want them to have one leg, and I want them to be indigenous. Go. And then when that makes no money, they go, great, white guys, let's do that. White guys are back. And then if people get mad again and they want to, they don't believe in it. The people there don't really believe in anything. It's just like they're just waiting to see which way they can go. Some of them like comedy. Like some of them like kind of like comedy. And that's the best you could say for some of them. Is that
have you ever in all your time in LA experienced an authentic human emotion?
One time I went to a Thai restaurant, it was closed and I was very sad.
It was. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.